This video is sponsored by the Pig Diarrhea Licking Society. It's random lift tours, France, Belgium, Netherlands, mad cycling and camping adventure. Yes, random lift tour time. And here I am at Gillingham Station, about to get on the train down to Dover, and along we go to the first lifts. Oh dear. So nice to see this random lift tour's got off to a good start. What a total load of shit. So then on the Electro Star I go down to Dover, and here I am at Dover Docks, and just look at this awesome run-down grotty 60s building. But something is missing on the left, the departures building. It's gone. They've pulled it down. Really odd, probably because there's hardly any foot passengers go on the ferries from here, but it's just so odd. This whole place is weird. And as well as this, there's also a car park around the back that has this long spooky passage to get to it. I don't even know what's happened to this car park, but at least the Rails building and the grotty car park above is still here. So along we go into the lift, and it is a generic hydraulic lift, but even though it's a generic lift, it's quite spooky and quite fun. And the top floor has been locked off. They've taken one of those big Juhas buttons and replaced it with a key switch. It is so odd, they've completely locked off the entire top floor. But we all know there is a way. So then open up the lift, and yes, there's a light on top, and turn it on, and where's the light switch? I can't turn on the light. Again, another lift where no way to turn on the lights. I don't believe it. So along we go to the other lift here. This lift's in the original shaft from the 60s. The lift's been replaced with a generic, but at least this one is traction, and this lift does look quite spooky. So then open it up, and yes, there is a light. So then verify inspection mode, and the indicator just shows the floor it's on. It's Leicester controls. It's supposed to show a scrolling message saying lift out of service. Something doesn't seem right here. So can I do this, or is it not safe? Right, let's verify the stop button, and the stop button is verified, which means I won't be out of control. So let's try this. Will this lift move? Yes, it does. Up I go. And here I am on the restricted top floor of this car park. And most of all, I'm not supposed to be up here. Even more reason to do it. Just look at this. Just look at this grotty area where the lift comes out. And over here we can see a really good view of the boats. And my boat is the boat on the left. And the boat's due to go soon. I'm going to be late. Quickly get on the bike and just quickly get to the boat. And on the bike it's really weird because you cycle around all of the grotty roadways. And it's actually cheaper if you have a bike with you. Because if you turn up as a foot passenger, it's actually really expensive to go on the boat. But have a bike with you, it's just £20 each way. It's so odd that having a bike reduces the fare by over half. And if you have a bike, you count as a vehicle, meaning you cycle around the grotty roads rather than go on the bus. This is so strange, cycling around this area. This feels so odd. And here I am waiting to get on the boat. And bikes and motorbikes are first on the boat, first off, which is really awesome. So here I am on the boat. And it's really fun cycling onto a boat, very different to driving on. And it's so odd to be at the front of a boat on my bike and no cars. This is so weird. And close the door. And let's go film some lifts. I've actually been on this boat not that long ago, which is a bit disappointing. I'm back on the same boat, but last time I missed the lift, which is the lorry driver's lift. It goes non-stop up to the lorry driver's restaurant area. This is the last lift. Let's ride it.
We expect a very good crossing. With an approximate crossing time of 40 hours. Would you now please observe all our smoking signs and pay particular attention to the following safety broadcast. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this DFDS Seaway sailing to Dunkirk. The vessel is now ready to depart.
And now we go along to the red lift. Now we go along to the service lift, which is locked off. But hey, I can open it up with triangle key, and just as opening it up, one of the staff came round the stairs and almost saw me. I almost got caught. Yeah, that was not good. So now we go on to the next lift, which is the green lift. But while I was filming this lift down in the car decks, there's a stowaway. And now we go along to the blue lift. This lift stops at the weird floor 3A, but there's absolutely nothing on this floor. There's a turn in the staircase. There's a deck 3 like an old height Conroy deck, so 3A is just like an extra turn in the staircase, but the lift stops there. So weird. And here I am up on floor 6, but I wanted to go to floor 7. For some reason floor 7 staff only in this lift, so across the staff only barrier I go up to deck 7. And there's actually not that much up there. And now here's the boat leaving Dover. Random lift tours will be back after the break. Stanner. We used to make good lifts. Sometimes there are just things you really don't want to do, such as your brother's wedding. But it is expected of you, so you just end up hoping for something to happen. Well, thanks to 21st century lift services, it will. Because every time you go in one of our lifts, there's a 1 in 2 chance you'll get stuck in it. We are High-Rise Lift Services, the industry's leading experts in lifts. Our lifts have shocked the industry as they are like no other. They go a whopping 1/4 of a metre a second and last an astonishing 2 whole years. So make sure you get your lift from High-Rise. And now we return to random lift tours, and the boat has now arrived in Dunkirk in France. And off the boat I go, and the people in the ferry terminal are very unfriendly towards bikes because they don't like bikes for some reason, like gets in the way of how I like to run a ferry. They're quite rude here. But anyway, here I am in France, and everything in France looks so different to England. As one of the best bits about going to a foreign place, it's like all of the little details you're just used to everywhere are all so different. For example, road signs, the layout of the actual sign is different, the font, just the whole way it looks is so odd. So coming up the ferry terminal, rather than going up the main road, along go to the little weird back road into the centre of Dunkirk. It's 10 miles into Dunkirk, and the little weird back road is quite weird. It's like it's quite empty, no man's land. And along you go to a oil refinery plant. It's like I'm in America rather than France. It's such a weird, very industrial thing. Quite interesting to look at. Very grotty, and there's loads of weird signs about, such as this one, which seems to say car fires are not allowed. So you can have a car fire everywhere else in France, just not in this area. So along I go past the oil refinery area, and there's this really spooky sign say danger, risk of explosions when the lights show. Really creepy. And along I go into Dunkirk. One of the real odd things about French roads is they have these equal priority junctions. They actually have these all across Europe. They just don't have them in the United Kingdom, and I'm really not used to them. But I think about France is they actually have these on major road intersections. There's 2 large roads crossing each other, both with complete equal priority and no traffic lights. When I got to these, what I wrongly thought was it's a bit like a mini roundabout. You give way to the stuff already on the junction. So since I'm driving on the right, that'd be give way to stuff on the left. But no, it's the other way around. You're actually giving way to stuff on the right, which is so alien to me. I've never done anything quite like this. So along I go into the centre of Dunkirk. Now I have filmed a lot of the lifts here. Dunkirk isn't really that interesting, but here is a lift in one of the shops in Dunkirk. So then it's now starting to get dark and I want to get along to the Netherlands border before night time. I don't have long left, so I need to go fast. It's another 10 miles to the France-Belgium border where I can then get a tram all the way across to the Belgium-Netherlands border. So then I've got 10 miles to solve. Right, let's go. And it's getting dark. And along I go to the France-Belgium border crossing. And look at this, so clearly looks like a classic sort of old-style border crossing before all the border controls were removed many years ago. And you got to see here's the middle bit of the road. It must have been like a big checkpoint sort of thing here. And these buildings next to it all look like buildings doing the border control. Have all been sold off and all this shops and other stuff now. But really interesting. And now I go along into Belgium. And it is getting very dark now. And the trams don't actually run that late here. I'm going to miss the last tram. Quickly cycle faster, I'm getting really tired. It's actually quite spooky cycling along roads in a foreign country where everything looks very different and it's getting dark. This is actually quite atmospheric, quite creepy. And along I go along to the Deep-Hand Forest tram stop and it is really dark. And tram! And I'm actually not off the end of the line, so I just have to wait a few minutes for a tram to go up and back. And while the tram's going up to Plopsland, I go and do a plop in the woods. And it's very dark in the woods. And now I go back to the tram stop, very dark and spooky, very atmospheric waiting for a tram, and here it comes. And on the tram I go. So I'm pretty much cheating. I'm using the tram to bypass the whole of Belgium and all the way across to the Netherlands border. And here I am at Knock, which is just a couple of miles from the Netherlands border, and it is now in the middle of the night. First, let's take a look at Knock train station. It is very creepy cycling around this train station in the middle of the night. There's not much lighting here, no trains. Yeah, very creepy. So now I cycle down to the coast and cycle along the coast to almost the Netherlands border. And here I am at the coast. It's the middle of the night, not many people about. And I'm now leaving the lit area, so I'm now going right into the dark. And along I go to this weird nature reserve, can't see a sodding thing because it's so dark, and that's about as far as I can go. So it's now time for me to put up my tent. That's right, I'm not going to any hotels. I'm doing an experiment to see how little amount of money I can spend on a holiday. So I've got a tent, let's put up the tent, and I've decided to camp on the beach. So it's very dark, can barely see what I'm doing, just about managed to put up my tent, and what is that sound? It sounds like it's raining outside. It's not. That is the sound of sandhoppers. I had no idea this beach would be completely infestated with them. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. The whole beach is swarmed with sandhoppers. They all come up from beneath the sand to feed. Now my tent is in the middle of it. I can feel them all pitter-pattering underneath the tent. And the thing that really scares me about them is they jump like a flea with their back. They can sort of spin themselves in an uncontrolled jump. And I was actually quite scared because I didn't know if they bit. I was like inundated amongst them. I opened up the tent a little bit and loads of them just jumped in. It was like the whole beach was a swarm of sandhoppers. But I settled down after a couple of hours. It was a very rough night's sleep, but at least I did manage to get to sleep. Random Lift Tours will be back after the break. We are Apex Lifts. When we maintain a lift, we put our name over the manufacturer's logo because we're pretty much like a dog scent marking our territory. That's right, we'll come and piss in your lift. But you can't argue with us because we have the royal warrant. We install lifts for the Queen because she totally loves it when she gets stuck in our lifts, doesn't she? And when we find an old lift, we always replace it with something that doesn't last as long because we are Apex Lifts. Lift Specialists Limited. Yeah, because we are such specialists. Lift Specialists Limited employs some of the most experienced engineers in the country. Right. The Evans Lifter Lights are the experts in lifts. Generic. And now we return to random lift tours, and it's now morning. I wake up after a bad night's sleep, but at least I can now see again. And here is my tent on the beach. And here is the beach I've been camping on. Now it is now light and I can now see what it looks like. And now we go along into the nature reserve. Here's the nature reserve, and over there, just look at that statue. That is so creepy. And now we go across the nature reserve and into the Netherlands. Although I'm not entirely sure when I actually entered the Netherlands, because there's no sign marking the border. Here I am in the Netherlands, and the cycleways over here are just so awesome. I mean, the cycleways in Belgium were just amazing, but the Netherlands is even better. There's just cycleways wherever you go. There's hardly a single road without a cycleway in the Netherlands. In fact, in the Netherlands, there's less roads without cycleways than there actually are cycleways in England. That is how good it is. It is just amazing. And I long go to Kazan Bard, and I long go into a hotel and into the lift there, which is an 80s Otis. And here I am in the town centre of Kazan Bard. Here are the shops, and one really amazing thing about this part of the Netherlands is that when people go into the shops, they don't even lock up their bikes. And quite a lot of people here don't even lock up their bikes overnight. That is how little the amount of crime is here. It is just amazing, especially if you compare this to where I come from in chavvy old Gillingham. Everyone in the Netherlands is just so friendly. And now, I now cycle 6 miles southwards down to Oostburg. And now let's take a look at some of the cycleways. For example, this road here is like just a country road going across this countryside, and it has cycleways each side. To me, this is just amazing. There's this many cycleways. But to the people in the Netherlands, this cycleway I'm going on is actually a really crap cycleway. Because what people in the Netherlands are used to is completely segregated cycleways like this. Not a single car about. This path is just for bikes. This is just amazing. These segregated cycleways go all the way across the country. It's just such easy cycling. This is just so amazing that cycleways are this good. And I long ago into Oostburg. And here I am in the town centre of Oostburg. And it's a really nice place. There's loads of little shops about, although there aren't actually any lifts. So I long ago into Oostburg Hospital and into the lifts there, which are some really awesome star lift Vubergs. And I've never actually been in this sort of lift before. Let's ride it! And now we go along into the staff-only lift. And now I carry on cycling along the Netherlands, and one thing you see a lot in the Netherlands is windmills. And another really interesting thing is these litter bin. Is it like just a net where people throw in their litter? And now I carry on cycling southwards down from Oostburg along some of these awesome Netherlands roads, and I now go back to the Netherlands-Belgium border. And it's not actually that much marking a border, it's literally just this border stone. That's it, that's all there is telling me I've crossed the border. And here I am now across the border back in Belgium. And now I cycle southwards across Belgium, and I was hoping to go down to Ghent. Although what I didn't realise is this is actually a lot further distance than I thought. I was looking at a map, because everything looks a lot closer than it actually is. Well, this is the distances shown on maps, so it should be obvious how far everything is. But everything's quite a long way spaced out in this part of Belgium, and I didn't realise how far it was. So yeah, I was cycling along for a very, very long way. I got extremely tired. But at least the roads here are really nice and really easy to cycle along. Although there aren't actually cycleways on all the roads over in Belgium, the roads around this part are still really quiet, and it's like I'm cycling along the middle of nowhere. And along I come to a little farm. And one thing about this area of France, Belgium, Netherlands is that there's loads of very small farms about. It's like animals in little pens, and a lot of these animals actually tame like these really cute sheep. And when I went off and left them, they started making loads of protests because I hadn't fed them. And now I go along cycling along Belgium, and you get these little country roads with rows of trees going along. And along I go to this river, and this bit really does look amazing. Just look at this river with rows of trees going along. It's like these long boulevards of trees. So now I carry on cycling downwards, and I cycle for a very long way, much further than I actually thought. And I kept cycling until I was getting extremely tired. And I've cycled over 20 miles now, and I don't usually cycle quite this far. I'm absolutely exhausted. Just when I got to this point, that's when I thought I can't go any further. I was absolutely exhausted. I didn't feel like I could cycle another mile. I just had to give up. It was just too far. I did not realise it was quite that far. So I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm completely exhausted. This was not good. So at this point I decided to cycle westwards to Belgium. So along my cycle, which was still quite a long way, I think it was almost 10 miles. I did it painfully slowly because my legs completely ached. I cycled along this really small little road, and it was a long way. And at this point I was so exhausted I just collapsed in the middle of nowhere by some cows. And here are the cows. They're all staring at me. They looked friendly, but when I walked over to them they all ran away. So here I am, completely exhausted in the middle of nowhere. So after an hour I just about managed to carry on cycling. I just made it to Belgium, and here I am in the town centre. So then along I go to the lift in the town hall, which is a really nice listen club MRL. Let's ride it! And now I stayed in this town for another couple of hours. I went to McDonald's, and after getting a bit more energy I decided to carry on cycling. So I carried on westwards towards a place where I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it, because the English version of this place is somehow called Bruges. But what's odd about this place is also the version of this by the sea, which is Zeebrugge, meaning that this town is basically Landbrugge. So I started cycling along here. One interesting thing was this goose farm with loads of baby geese, which are really cute. And now it's now starting to get dark, and I'm now completely exhausted because I've cycled 40 miles today. I am so exhausted now. So along I go into a wood, but there is a problem, which is I don't want anyone to come across my tent while I'm asleep in the middle of the night. I'm just really scared of putting up my tent somewhere and it being discovered. Last night on the beach, it was like middle of nowhere, but here it's like loads of people about. So I walked around this bit of wood for a while, trying to see if there's any bits of it where no one went. But I found this path where no one was walking, because this path goes into a closed area of the wood. I did think about actually putting up my tent in the closed area. I'm very glad I didn't, because it was closed for a reason. So I put up my tent here on this path. I could hear quite a few people about, but when it went completely dark, there was no one about. There was no reason anyone would have to come up here, so I thought I wouldn't get disturbed in the middle of the night here. Let's just listen to what sounds we can hear. And I now went to sleep, and at 3 o'clock in the morning I got woken up by the sound of a lorry, and it sounded very close, like it was coming down the path where my tent was. I panicked, woke up, got out the tent to see a lorry was actually in the closed part of the wood, and it was dumping soil. So this lorry was making a load of noise at 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are they doing work at this time of night? The only reason I can think of is that it must be soil being dumped from a metro system, because when underground train tunnels are dug and the soil has to be removed literally as it comes out, it can't be any delays. Meaning if you want soil to do landscaping, so they'll give you the soil for free, but they'll deliver it whenever they deliver it, and when they do deliver it, they have to deliver it there and then. You have to have the space available where you want the soil to be put. And now it's now morning, and the diggers come and started rearranging the soil that's been dumped in the middle of the night, and you can see the workmen now working on it. So then I've now woken up as soon as it gets light before any people come along and see my tent, and now I go along into Bruges and along to this weird ticking traffic light. Now that is weird. I've never seen anything quite like that before. And now it's spinning bridge time. And let's take a look at some of the cycleways in Belgium. As well as having completely dedicated cycleways, they also have cycleways where cycling on each side of the road, and you cycle on the correct side for which way you're going. And as you can see in this little video, I'm cycling the wrong way. And these cycleways red list is when a car wants to turn right into a side road because they're cutting across you. The cars actually have to stop and give way to you. Now that is just amazing. And now, while Evil Hour's gone and got himself stuck in some lift doors, I go off and film the lifts in Bruges. And now to the first lift, which is a nice 90s fissy. And now to the next lift, which is a 90s fissy, except this one is hydraulic. Boring. So now we go to the next lifts, which are some Gen 2s. Let's open up the logic cabinet. And I can't read the instructions because they're not in English, but luckily I still know how to do this. Put it into engineer mode and drive it downwards into position. Open it up, and where's the light switch? Once again, no light switch. The light switch must be down in the pit, which I can't open up down there because it's too busy. Replace it with generic. And now we go along to the next lift, which are some nice eco discs down to an underground car park.
Space is reducing, the need is the higher floor.
And now, there's quite a few crap lifts here, but let's just cut out all of these and move straight on to the awesome lifts, such as this old Otis. Now, this is just completely epic. Just take a look at this. And now we go along to an awesome inner doorless lift in a hotel. And now it's Seesaw Bridge time. Now this bridge is really weird and really amazing. For the bridge to raise, the whole bridge literally tilts like a seesaw. I've never seen anything quite like this. That is quite amazing. And now we go along to a totally awesome 1960s relay controlled theme lift. Let's ride it! I really wanted to get to Ghent. So I went to this bike park near the station, and I did a separate lift tour of the station, links in the description. And after I locked up my bike here, I got on the train and went to Ghent. And there was some nice old trams in Ghent, and I did a couple of lift tours here. And I did these videos separately, and links to these videos are in the description. The next day I then went home again. So I went down to Zeebrugge and got a tram all the way back to France. Then I cycled along back to Dunkirk, and while cycling around the back roads round the docks, guess what I found? Norpas de Calais, the awesome old 80s My Fair Link boat, which I never got to go on. This must have some awesome lifts. My Fair Link was shut down. The other two boats got taken over by DFDS, but this boat is now just sitting here out of service. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this boat. Hope they're not going to scrap it, because I just really want to see these 80s lifts. And now back go to Dunkirk, and here is the ferry terminal building. And it seems like for once I might actually be in agreement with Eagle Owl, as this ferry building has a really nice 80s generic. It might be generic, but back in these days they were built a lot better than they are nowadays, and it's still working and it's really nice. Replace it with generic. Just because it's an old generic makes no difference. I'll replace my own generics when they're a couple of years old because they're built with planned obsolescence. I will replace everything with generic.